In the vast expanses of the Milky Way, Earth was barely a blip on the radar of the Galactic Empire, a formidable force comprising countless advanced species. They ruled expansively, their influence stretching across star systems, leaving little room for the rise of a supposedly primitive species like humanity. Yet on Earth, amidst the bustling cities and rapid technological advancements, one man, Captain Marcus Raines, saw a different future. Marcus, a seasoned military strategist, and now a rogue leader of a covert resistance, stood in his dimly lit office, poring over the latest surveillance data. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Jonah Pierce, entered with a brisk step. "Marcus, we've intercepted communications. They're closer than we thought," Jonah said, his voice tense. Marcus looked up, his eyes narrowing. "Define close, Jonah. Within striking distance of Mars. They're not just scouting anymore." Jonah laid out the holographic star maps across the table. The red dots marking the Empire's fleet pulsed ominously. Marcus rubbed his chin, deep in thought. "It's time then. Gather the team. We need to strike first and hard." Within the hour, Marcus's trusted circle was assembled in their hidden base, a repurposed industrial complex beneath the bustling streets of New Chicago. They were a diverse group: Dr. Ava Zheng, a brilliant engineer, Commander Leo Barnes, a seasoned pilot, and several other key resistance fighters. "Here's the situation," Marcus began, his voice firm and compelling as he addressed the room. "The Empire thinks we're too primitive to pose any real threat. Today, we proved them wrong. Ava, I need your expertise on disabling their communications." Ava nodded, her eyes sharp with focus. "I can disrupt their signals, but it'll only buy us a window of about 30 minutes before they reroute." "That's all we need," Marcus replied. Leo leaned forward, his hands clenched. "I'll lead the aerial squadron. We'll need every fighter we can spare if we're going to make a dent." Jonah chimed in. "And ground forces?" Marcus turned to him, a strategic glint in his eye. "That's your domain, Jonah. Sabotage and ground defense. Keep them from landing at all costs." The group nodded, understanding the gravity of their task. The meeting continued with each member contributing, refining their approach, dissecting every possible outcome. They were not just planning an attack. They were orchestrating the first real challenge to the Empire's authority. As the meeting disbanded, Marcus pulled Jonah aside. "Keep an eye on everything. If this doesn't go as planned, it could end everything we've worked for." Jonah clapped Marcus on the shoulder, a grim smile on his face. "We won't let it come to that. We're ready." Night had fallen by the time preparations were complete. Marcus stood at the command center, his team positioned across the globe and in orbit, ready on his command. He gave Jonah a final nod and then opened the fleet-wide channel. "This is Captain Marcus Raines," he began, his voice echoing through the speakers of ships and ground units alike. "Today we stand united not just as survivors, but as defenders of our home. The Empire believes us weak, insignificant. Today we show them how wrong they are. Strike with precision, strike with courage, for Earth." The battle that followed would be remembered as the beginning of humanity's stand against the Galactic Empire. As Marcus coordinated the attacks from his command center, each strike was a declaration. Earth was no longer just another planet to be conquered. It was a force in its own right, a united species ready to fight for its place in the cosmos. The stillness of space near Mars was abruptly shattered by the whirring engines of stealth fighters, all remnants of Earth's once clandestine defense project. Under the cover of darkness, humanity's first offensive fleet, led by Commander Leo Barnes, navigated the narrow corridors of space, moving into attack positions. Back on Earth, in a bunker deep beneath the surface, Captain Marcus Raines watched the operation unfold on a series of screens. His team, keyed into various communications channels, relayed updates relentlessly. "We're approaching the target," Leo's voice crackled over the comm. "All ships, switch to silent running. Weapons hot." Marcus leaned forward, his gaze fixed on the screen showing the real-time position of their fleet and the unsuspecting alien armada. Beside him, Jonah Pierce monitored the tactical displays, his fingers poised over the controls that would deploy additional support if needed. "Marcus, all units report ready status," Jonah reported, his voice steady. Marcus gave a curt nod. On your command, Leo. A moment of tense silence enveloped the command center, broken only by the soft hum of machinery. Then, the voice of Leo Barnes filled the room once more. Initiating strike, now! The display lit up with bursts of light as the human fleet unleashed a barrage of advanced torpedoes and electromagnetic pulses, designed specifically to disable the alien tech without immediate destruction. Surprise was their greatest asset, and they exploited it fully. Direct hits on targets 1 through 5, enemy shields are failing, Ava Jang announced, tracking the effectiveness of their weaponry from her station. Marcus watched as the alien ships began to drift, their systems overwhelmed by the sudden onslaught. Leo, press the advantage. Don't let them regroup. Roger that, pushing forward, Leo responded. The screen showed the fighters swooping around the disabled ships, targeting vital systems to prevent any distress signals from escaping the engagement zone. In the ensuing chaos, Dr. Ava Jang coordinated with the tech teams, sending bursts of code to further disrupt the alien communications. I've injected the virus into their network. It will take them some time to isolate and eliminate it, she updated, her fingers flying over her console. Meanwhile, Jonah Pierce managed the defense squads, ensuring that any retaliatory fire was quickly suppressed. Ground teams are in position to intercept any debris or escape pods. We're keeping this clean, Marcus. As the battle progressed, Marcus knew that each moment they maintained the upper hand brought Earth closer to a semblance of safety. The element of surprise had been fully utilized, and now the reports flooding in spoke of a confused and scrambling enemy. Finally, Leo's voice came through with a tone of controlled triumph. Enemy fleet is neutralized. We've got total control of the zone. Marcus allowed himself a moment of relief. Good work, team. Let's start mop-up operations. We need to gather all the intel we can from their systems. Ava, prioritize data extraction. Ava nodded, already coordinating with her remote units. On it, Marcus. We'll get everything they've got. As the team worked to secure their victory, Marcus turned to Jonah. Prepare for the next phase. They will retaliate, and we need to be ready. This is just the beginning. Jonah met his gaze, a fire of determination in his eyes. We'll be ready, Marcus. They underestimated us today. They won't make that mistake again. The victory was celebrated quietly among the ranks of Earth's defenders, but Marcus knew better than to relish in their success for too long. This was merely the opening gambit in what would become a protracted struggle for survival and sovereignty. Humanity had announced its defiance loudly and clearly. Now they had to prepare for the Empire's response. The Galactic Empire, humiliated and enraged by the unexpected defeat at the hands of Earth's fledgling forces, convened an emergency session of its high command. In a stark, expansive command chamber decorated with the banners of 1,000 subjugated worlds, the Empire's top generals and admirals gathered to plot their retaliation. Humanity's audacity is unprecedented, growled Admiral Vrax, his voice booming through the chamber. They are but primitives wielding stolen tech. We cannot allow this insult to stand. Around him, the chamber buzzed with the harsh whispers of agreement. The High Command was used to swift and brutal responses, crushing any hint of rebellion under their might. However, this was different. Earth had shown a level of strategic cunning that was unexpected. We will deploy the 7th Fleet, declared General Lenara, her tone icy as she projected a holographic map of the solar system. A direct assault. We will not underestimate them again. Back on Earth, the news of the Empire's mobilization reached Marcus through a network of covert surveillance satellites. The control room, usually a hub of strategic planning, fell silent as the reality of the imminent attack sank in. Marcus addressed his inner circle, his expression grim but determined. The Empire's response is on its way. We've shown them that we can fight, but now they'll come with everything they've got. Leo Barnes, who had barely had time to celebrate their previous victory, stepped forward. We've dealt them a blow, but our resources are still limited. We need a plan that maximizes what we have. Marcus nodded at Ava, who had been working non-stop on enhancing their defensive capabilities. Ava, what's the status on our orbital defenses? We've upgraded the platforms with the Empire's own weaponry we salvaged. They'll pack a punch, but against a full fleet. Ava paused, her concern evident. "It's going to be a tough fight." Jonah, always focused on the tactical aspects, chimed in. "We need to consider not just a direct defense but also how to outmaneuver them. Hit-and-run tactics, guerrilla strikes, and keeping them off balance." Marcus listened intently, weighing each suggestion. "We use what worked and improve on it. Leo, prepare the pilots for irregular warfare. We'll need to be unpredictable. Ava, keep working on those defenses. Jonah, start planning the ground resistance. I want every possible scenario covered." As Earth's defenders hustled to prepare, the Empire's 7th Fleet approached, a menacing array of warships that blotted out the stars. Admiral Vrax, aboard the flagship, surveyed the holographic displays with a predatory glint in his eye. "Begin the assault. Leave no doubt of our power." The first volleys from the Empire's fleet were devastating. Orbital defense platforms buckled under the fierce onslaught, and the night skies of Earth were lit by the fiery descents of debris. Despite the ferocity of the attack, the humans responded with tenacity. Leo led squadrons of fighters that danced through the enemy lines, striking at critical vulnerabilities and retreating before reprisals could be organized. On the ground, Jonah coordinated the defense networks, his forces employing a maze of automated defenses and mobile units that harried the landing troops of the Empire. Every step the enemy took was contested, every advance met with fierce resistance. In the midst of the chaos, Marcus remained a steady presence, directing operations from the heart of the resistance. "Hold the line," he urged, his voice a constant presence over the comms. "Every second we hold gives us another chance to fight back." As the battle raged, the Empire began to realize that Earth would not be easily subdued. Their initial confidence wavered as each wave of their attack met with stubborn defiance. Admiral Vrax watched in growing frustration as his fleet's superiority was challenged by a species they had considered inconsequential. Back in the bunker, Marcus's team worked tirelessly, coordinating strikes, rerouting resources, and shoring up defenses. The world watched and waited, knowing that the outcome of this battle would define humanity's place in the galaxy forever. The fight was far from over, but Earth had proven it could stand against the might of the Galactic Empire. Now, it was a matter of holding on and fighting for every inch of their world. As the battle for Earth raged on, the tireless efforts of Marcus Raines and his team gradually began to stall the overwhelming forces of the Galactic Empire. Despite the advanced technology and sheer numbers of the enemy, the resilience and innovative tactics of the human defenders slowly turned the tide. Earth's orbit, littered with the wreckage of alien ships and human fighters alike, stood as a testament to the ferocity of the conflict. In the heart of the Resistance's command center, Marcus convened a critical strategy meeting with his top advisors. Lieutenant Jonah Pierce, Dr. Ava Jeng, and Commander Leo Barnes gathered around the holographic map, displaying the current positions of both human and enemy forces. "We've managed to hold them off, but it's costing us dearly," Marcus began, his voice tinged with fatigue but resolute. "We need a decisive advantage. Ideas?" Jonah leaned forward, pointing at a cluster of enemy ships that were regrouping near the moon. "Their command ship has been coordinating the assault from there. If we can take it out, it would throw their chain of command into chaos." Ava chimed in, her fingers dancing across her tablet, bringing up schematics of the enemy command ship. "I've been analyzing the data from our previous engagements. Their ship has a critical vulnerability in its power core shielding. It's a long shot, but a precise strike could disable it, maybe even take it out completely." Leo, ever the pragmatic pilot, raised an eyebrow. "Precision is one thing, but getting there through a fleet of that size is another. We'd need a serious distraction." Marcus considered their options, his strategic mind working through the scenarios. What if we don't go through them? What if we go around them? The room went silent as they considered the audaciousness of the plan. It was risky, potentially suicidal, but it was also exactly the kind of unexpected move that could work. "We have a few stealth ships left," Marcus continued, his plan taking shape. "We paint them as asteroids, slip them through the debris field here," he pointed at a less guarded sector in the enemy's perimeter, "and approach the command ship from the blind spot we know they have near their lower axis." Leo nodded slowly, the beginnings of a smile playing on his lips. That's bold, Marcus, but bold might just be what we need right now. Ava looked between them, her mind racing through the technical requirements. I'll need time to modify the ships, and even then there's no guarantee they won't be detected. But if they make it, Jonah added, his voice steady, it could change everything. Marcus gave a firm nod, his decision made. Do it. Prepare the ships. Leo, you'll lead the mission. Ava, get those mods started immediately. Jonah, coordinate with ground and orbital defenses to keep their attention on us. We're not just holding the line now, we're pushing back. The next hours were a blur of activity as the plan was set into motion. Ava and her team worked feverishly to retrofit the stealth ships with asteroid-like plating and enhanced cloaking devices. Leo gathered his best pilots, briefing them on the mission with a level of detail that left no room for error. As the stealth ships, disguised as inconspicuous debris, began their silent journey through space, the rest of the human forces launched a series of feints and attacks to draw the Empire's attention. Earth's defenses, coordinated by Jonah, became a symphony of calculated chaos, each move designed to protect the critical mission. High above the Earth, Leo and his team navigated the debris field, their ships silent shadows against the backdrop of space. The tension in each cockpit was palpable. The fate of their world might well depend on the success of their mission. As they approached the enemy command ship, the vast, looming vessel unaware of their approach, each pilot prepared for the final phase of their desperate strike. Their hearts beat in unison, a silent anthem to their courage and their refusal to yield. Back on Earth, Marcus watched the progress of the mission, his usual calm demeanor belied by the tight grip he had on the console in front of him. This was the turning point. He could feel it. The moment of truth for Earth and for humanity. The stealth operation led by Commander Leo Barnes was a resounding success. As the disguised ships approached the Galactic Empire's command vessel, the unsuspecting enemy continued to focus on the larger battle, unaware of the imminent threat. With precision and courage, Leo and his team executed their strike, delivering a crippling blow to the command ship's power core. The explosion was massive, sending shockwaves through the fleet and casting the enemy into confusion. Back on Earth, in the Resistance's command center, cheers erupted as the feed from the stealth ships confirmed the success of the operation. Marcus Raines allowed himself a brief smile, acknowledging the daring bravery of his pilots. The room buzzed with renewed energy and hope. We've got them on the back foot now, Marcus declared, turning to his team. Let's make sure they don't recover. Jonah, coordinate with all units. Push the offensive. We need to take advantage of this disarray. Jonah Pierce nodded, immediately issuing commands through his console. All units, this is command. Advance on all fronts. Repeat, advance on all fronts. As Earth's forces began to press forward, the Empire struggled to regroup. Their communications were in shambles, and with their command structure compromised, orders were delayed or lost in the chaos. The once unstoppable fleet found itself reeling under the relentless assault of the human defenders. In space, remnants of the Empire's fleet attempted to form a defensive perimeter around their crippled flagship. However, Leo Barnes, still in command of his stealth squadron, continued to harry their flanks, exploiting every hesitation. Keep hitting them hard, team, Leo instructed his pilots over the comm. They're not coordinated well enough to mount a proper defense. Let's not give them the chance to regroup. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Ava Zheng worked tirelessly to bolster the planet's defenses, using the technology salvaged from downed enemy ships. Her efforts ensured that any attempt by the Empire to land troops met with fierce resistance. Automated turrets, drone swarms, and energy shields formed a nearly impregnable barrier around key strategic locations. As the battle waged on, Marcus monitored the situation from the command center, his eyes constantly moving between the tactical displays and the live feeds from the field. The tide had definitely turned, but he knew better than to underestimate the Empire. They would be desperate, and desperate enemies were dangerous. Unexpectedly, an urgent message came through from one of the outer monitoring stations. Command, we've detected a large energy buildup on the Empire's secondary flagship. It looks like they're preparing to launch a counteroffensive. Marcus's expression hardened. Ava, can we counter this? Ava quickly assessed the data. It's a massive energy weapon, Marcus. Our current defenses can hold against their conventional arms, but this could penetrate. We'll need to disable that ship before they get a shot off. Understanding the critical nature of this new threat, Marcus turned to Jonah. Deploy our remaining reserves to intercept. Jonah, take command on this. We can't let that weapon fire. Jonah acknowledged with a determined look. Understood, Marcus. I'll handle it. As Jonah organized a rapid response team, Marcus communicated directly with Leo, still engaged in space. Leo, we have a new priority target. Coordinates are being sent to you now. We need that ship taken out before it can use its weapon. Roger that, Marcus. We're on it, Leo responded, adjusting his squadron's trajectory to intercept the secondary flagship. The ensuing hours were tense, as Earth's defenders mobilized to neutralize the new threat. Space and ground battles intensified as both sides pushed their limits. The humans, driven by a fierce desire to protect their home, fought with unmatched vigor, slowly gaining the upper hand. As the sun began to rise over Earth, casting light on the battle-scarred planet, the energy in the command center was cautiously optimistic. Reports of victories began to outweigh the setbacks, and it became clear that the Empire's once mighty grip was faltering. Marcus stood amidst his team, pride and resolve clear in his gaze. Keep pushing, he urged them. Today, we make history. The Galactic Empire, now significantly weakened and disorganized, grew desperate in its tactics. Admiral Vrax, determined to reclaim the dignity of the Empire, called for a final, massive assault on Earth, deploying what remained of their once formidable fleet. This was their last chance to subjugate humanity and restore their reputation across the galaxy. In the command center deep within Earth, Marcus Raines and his team prepared for the looming confrontation. News of the Empire's impending all-out attack had reached them, and the mood was tense but determined. We've pushed them to the brink, Marcus stated, looking over the battle plans with Jonah and Ava. Now they're coming with everything they've got. This will be the deciding battle. Ava, who had been enhancing Earth's defense systems non-stop, chimed in. Our planetary shields are stronger than ever, and our orbital platforms are fully operational. We're ready. Jonah, reviewing troop deployments, added, Our forces are in position. We've set up multiple lines of defense. They won't find it easy to break through. Marcus nodded, then opened a channel to address all units. This is Captain Raines. The Empire is mounting its final assault. This is our moment to secure our future and our freedom. Stand strong, fight hard, and we will prevail. As the Empire's fleet approached, the skies above Earth darkened with the shadows of countless warships. The first wave was met with a barrage of fire from Earth's orbital defenses, igniting the space in flashes of destructive brilliance. Leo Barnes, leading the aerial counterassault, darted through the chaos, his squadron targeting key ships in the enemy's vanguard. Focus on the cruisers, break their line, he commanded, his ship weaving through enemy fire. On the ground, Jonah orchestrated the defense forces, maintaining communication with Marcus to adapt their strategies in real time. Incoming ground troops, East Sector, he relayed, directing the nearest units to intercept. The battle was fierce, with both sides experiencing heavy losses. Earth's defenders, empowered by their previous victories and the strategic genius of their leaders, managed to hold their ground. Ava's defensive enhancements proved invaluable, protecting key locations from orbital bombardments. As the battle reached its peak, a large enemy dreadnought broke through the orbital defense line, its sights set on the major population centers below. Recognizing the imminent threat, Marcus made a quick decision. Leo, we need that dreadnought taken down now, he ordered, urgency in his voice. Leo, already on a return vector from a skirmish, replied, On it, Marcus. We're going in. With skilled precision, Leo and his team executed a daring attack on the dreadnought, navigating through its formidable defenses to deliver a critical strike. The dreadnought, severely damaged, lost control and began to drift, its threat neutralized. Meanwhile, on the surface, Jonah led the ground forces in a counterpush, driving the enemy back step by step. Push forward, drive them back, he shouted into his comm. rallying his troops as they reclaimed territory. As the tide of battle turned decisively in their favor, the remnants of the Empire's forces began to retreat, their will to fight crumbling. The realization that they were defeated spread through the enemy ranks, sapping their resolve. Back in the command center, Marcus, Ava, and Jonah watched as the last of the enemy ships fled the battlefield. The sense of relief was palpable, mixed with exhaustion and the sobering cost of their victory. "We did it," Marcus said, allowing the weight of their success to settle in. "They're retreating." Ava let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. "Yes, we did, thanks to everyone's efforts." Jonah looked over the reports coming in, nodding solemnly. "It's over, but there's much to rebuild." Marcus turned to his team, pride and gratitude evident in his expression. "Today, we defended our home against the greatest threat we've ever faced. This victory belongs to all of humanity. Let's get to work on rebuilding. We have a future to secure, and it's brighter than ever." Following the decisive defeat of the Galactic Empire's forces, the aftershocks of their failed invasion rippled through the galaxy. News of humanity's triumph spread rapidly, igniting hope and rebellion in countless systems long oppressed by the Empire. The myth of the Empire's invincibility had been shattered by a single, seemingly insignificant planet, Earth. In the war room deep beneath Earth's surface, Captain Marcus Raines and his team monitored the developments with a mix of awe and determination. The victory had been monumental, but Marcus knew the real work was just beginning. "Look at this," Ava said, pulling up real-time feeds of uprisings on various planets. "The fall of the Empire has left a power vacuum. These systems are fighting for their freedom, inspired by what we've achieved." Jonah leaned over the console, studying the images of alien races taking up arms. "We've started a fire, Marcus. What's our move? We can't just stand back now." Marcus nodded solemnly. "We won't. We'll support these uprisings where we can. The Empire may be down, but it's not out. Their leadership is scattered, but they'll regroup if given the chance. We need to keep up the pressure." The task was daunting. The Empire had ruled through fear and overwhelming force for centuries. Its bureaucracy was entrenched, its military still formidable despite the recent defeat. But its moral authority was gone, eroded by the resilience and courage of Earth's defenders. As Marcus strategized with his team, Leo Barnes prepared for a new kind of mission. Instead of leading assault squadrons, he was now coordinating supply runs to resistance movements across the galaxy. "Getting these supplies where they need to go isn't going to be easy," Leo remarked as he organized the logistics. "But it's necessary. Every bit of help counts." Ava was focused on another crucial task. "I'm setting up communication networks between the rebelling systems. If they can share intel and resources, they'll stand a better chance against any Imperial remnants." Meanwhile, Jonah took charge of training new recruits. The victory had swelled their ranks with volunteers, eager to defend their planet and support their new allies. "These folks are brave but raw," he observed during a training session. "We'll make soldiers out of them yet." Over the following weeks, Earth's influence grew, not through conquest but through solidarity and shared struggle. The planet that had once been dismissed as inconsequential became a beacon for freedom and resistance throughout the galaxy. Back on Earth, as Marcus watched a newly formed interstellar council convene for the first time, he felt a profound sense of change. Representatives from multiple species, including those once loyal to the Empire, were now working together to forge a new, democratic union. "This council represents what we've fought for," Marcus told his team. "A galaxy where every species has a voice, where might doesn't make right." As the council made decisions on reconstruction, defense, and aid, it became clear that the galaxy was on the cusp of a new era. The remnants of the Empire were hunted down and brought to justice. Their leaders faced trials, their atrocities laid bare for all to see. Marcus, ever vigilant, continued to oversee Earth's contributions to the galaxy's rebirth. Under his leadership, Earth remained a symbol of resilience and hope. The planet had not only defended itself, but had also lit the torch of liberty for others to follow. The fall of the Empire marked the end of an age of tyranny and the beginning of something new. As Marcus looked out at the stars, he knew that the future was uncertain, and the path to peace would be fraught with challenges. But he also knew that humanity was ready to face those challenges, shoulder to shoulder with their new allies, in a galaxy that was finally free. As the dust settled from the collapse of the Galactic Empire, a new order began to take shape under the guidance of the Interstellar Council. Earth had become a central hub for diplomacy, innovation, and reconstruction. Captain Marcus Raines, who had become a symbol of the resilience and capability of humanity, played a crucial role in shaping the future. In the sprawling complex that served as the new Galactic Council headquarters on Earth, Marcus walked alongside representatives from various planets. They were preparing for the inauguration of the Council's permanent session, a symbol of the enduring peace and cooperation they hoped to achieve. "Captain Raines, your insights have been invaluable in this process," said Solara, a representative from the once-oppressed Viridian system. "We are particularly interested in your thoughts on the security framework. The galaxy must never again fall under the rule of a single power." Marcus nodded, understanding the weight of the responsibility. "Our focus should be on a decentralized approach," he suggested. "Each system should be empowered to defend itself, but with a rapid support network that can respond to any threat collectively." As they continued their discussion, Ava Jung interrupted with an urgent message. "Marcus, we've just received a distress signal from the outskirts of the former empire. A system is under attack by remnants who refuse to surrender." Without hesitation, Marcus excused himself and hurried to the command center. The reality was stark. Peace would not be achieved easily or quickly. There were still those who clung to the old ways, sowing discord and violence. "Let's mobilize a response team," Marcus directed. "Leo, take command. Show them that the Council stands united against any who threaten peace." Leo Barnes, now a seasoned leader of the Council's rapid response forces, prepared his squadron. "We'll handle it, Marcus. They'll think twice before trying something like this again." As the squadron departed, Marcus turned his attention back to the Council's ongoing work. They were drafting the Galactic Constitution, a monumental task aimed at ensuring rights and justice for all species. Jonah Pierce, now an advisor on security policies, contributed his expertise. "We need to ensure that this Constitution is not just words, but is enforceable with a clear legal framework," Jonah emphasized during a council session. "Our recent skirmish is a reminder of the challenges we face." The inauguration day arrived, marked by a grand ceremony attended by species from across the galaxy. As Marcus delivered his speech, he spoke not only of the hardships they had overcome, but also of the promise of the future. "Today marks a new beginning for us all," Marcus declared, addressing the gathered crowd. "From the ashes of conflict, we rise to build a galaxy where freedom and peace are the foundations of our society. Let us move forward, not as separate species fighting for power, but as a united community, fostering understanding and cooperation." The applause that followed resonated not just in the chamber, but throughout the galaxy, broadcast on every network. It was a message of hope and unity, echoing far beyond the confines of the council hall. In the years that followed, Marcus continued to serve, not just as a military leader, but as a diplomat and visionary. Earth's technologies and ideologies spread, bringing advancements in medicine, science, and governance that benefited all. The galaxy, once divided and broken, thrived under the new system of governance that prized diversity and cooperation above all else. As Marcus looked out from the council building over the thriving cityscape of New Earth, he reflected on the journey. The battles they had fought were not just for survival, but for the right to shape their destiny. The galaxy had indeed learned a harsh lesson: never underestimate the power of a united and determined species. And as humanity continued to explore and connect with the cosmos, it was clear that this was only the beginning of their journey among the stars.